Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2. This was one of my favorite matches of the StarCraft 2 World Championships at IEM Katowice, which means you're not going to be the least bit surprised to hear me introduce the blue Terran player. It's Micro Jackson. It's ByuN's up against his German teammate, well known as one of the smartest Zergs, yet not really on that bleeding edge mechanically, has his work cut out for him, the Overmind. It's Lambo. A little bit of extra backstory on this match. Besides being teammates, this group had 4 tippy top tier Terran players. ByuN's, Bunny, Maru, Big, Gabe, the 4 Bs of Terran, battling it out, which means all the players preparing to face against Terran. Lambo, the only Zerg, maybe gives him a bit of an edge in preparing just for that one matchup. So, also to note, on paper, Lambo gonna struggle to stack up against ByuN's. But we don't play on paper. And also, I'm gonna give you a bit of a spoiler. It's not that easy. So hopefully you enjoy this match. You enjoy my commentary. And, well, like, subscribe, and let's get started. We got Command Center first into 2-1-1. It's gonna be Marines. He likes Marines. He likes making Marines. He likes microing Marines. Marines. Maybe if push comes to shove, we'll expand into Marauders or even Mines. But Marines are not unsurprisingly the very first choice here out of ByuN's. Lambo, on the other hand, nothing untoward. We got 3 hatcheries. He's taken the triangle hatch, which, if you can establish this base and defend it relatively early on, and you don't have to worry too much about drops to the main. Of course, ByuN's signature move. But at the same time, ByuN's with his first 2 medevacs is definitely going to be looking to threaten that right-hand side here. So I'm interested to see. I'm sure Lambo has preparations for dealing with the early Marine and medevac plays, which can spiral out of control so quickly if you're unprepared for them. All right. Zergling is patrolling for anything coming out there, whether it's Viking, Raven, Liberator. Occasionally a medevac, but it's doubtful a medevac would come out on its own on that side. There is an Overlord on the Pervert Pillar at the Natural, so that means Lambo knows that ByuN's is moving out here. And based on the timing, wow, he's getting those medevacs across the map with the stim pack. And we are under 5 minutes in. This is actually about the quickest you could ever get these 16 Marines with stim. Oh, near 16. Yeah, full 16. And the Queens. 1 gun down immediately. The Zergling's going for the flank, but the Marines just cut through them before they even get close. Lambo building more and more Zerglings. He managed to get up to 52 drones, which is a more than comfortable economy when dealing with this early aggression. Once again, assuming he's able to keep everything intact. You can afford to lose some Zerglings, but the Queens, on the other hand, are more costly. Another couple down. Lambo's actually taking his 4th hatch. Getting a lair. Baneling nest is done. Baneling speed going to be the very first priority, I assume, as adding that 5 HP and speed to the Banes is everything against the increasing numbers of Marines, and it looks like going to be tanks here. But ByuN's controlling the high ground. He's still got the Marine count to drive back any amount of Zerglings and probably Banelings without speed. As Banelings without speed and off a creep are mostly just target practice for ByuN's to show off for the highlight reel, as opposed to a real way of countering those Marines. The Marines taking the wrong path here. Don't know if ByuN's noticed the Banelings. Gonna try to set himself up on the high ground and deal with this. Here we go. Marines just stimming in. There's the handful of Zerglings at the back, and the tank's getting caught here, trying to target down the Banes. Bit of an awkward exchange. Loses both tanks, which is unfortunate, but the Marines are still intact. A lot of the Banelings. Okay, 1, 2. Oh, we missed one. ByuN's didn't quite finish off the Baneling closing the distance there, and that can be the margin between cutting down all of the Zerglings and chasing the Queens, and being driven back or forced to pick up. ByuN's, of course, he's at 44 SCVs. I want to point out that while there's a third command center in production, ByuN is essentially all in right now. He needs to get some sort of damage done, more than he already has. He has not limited any of Lambo's bases. He hasn't canceled or destroyed the fourth. He has not killed a meaningful amount of drones or queens, the other things you need to build up over time. And now he's setting himself up in quite a precarious position, as Lambo is already preparing a surround from 3 out of 4 potential angles. He's got those tanks jammed into the rocks, but here come the banelings rolling through targets down the back line. One tank gonna be targeted down, chased by the lings. Banelings, not quite enough to drive back all the Marines, but overall Lambo removing the most important parts of the attack, the tanks. And without the tanks, the Marines are kind of at the whims of the amount of lings and banes. Queen's chasing down. Still, this is a 5th hatchery. ByuN doesn't even know that's a 5th hatchery right now. He hasn't scouted the other side. It's honestly, Lambo expanded there so fast. It's essentially a macro hatch because he doesn't really have the drone count. But at the same time, ByuN not knowing about it, he could have easily sent a drop or something along those lines. But he hasn't done so, and he's continuing to press the issue on the right flank. Lambo can afford to give this up if he needs to, but that decision has yet to be made. Oh, more queens going down. The Marines noticing the banelings somewhat out of position. Very precariously, the banelings, wings and banes on the back. You can see it on the minimap. And here comes Lambo looking for a full surround here and finds it. 4 medevacs might be enough to get some of 3 medevacs. And Lambo crushes the tank, takes out a bunch of the Marines, and with it, a dramatic supply lead in Game 1. ByuN not quite finding that bleeding edge of micro he usually uses to slice through his opponents. Losing a few extra units here and there. The tanks especially, the glaring issue. He's lost 5 tanks now. All of them in positions that were clearly going to be surrounded, giving Lambo enough time. So, we'll see if he can continue to press through in Game 1. But ByuN is just now trying to take his 3rd. Lambo is technically on 5 bases. The larva production is the key part of that. A little supply blocked at the moment, but supply blocked still at a higher supply than ByuN has. And that's about the best case scenario right now for Lambo, being even on upgrades, more workers, and plenty of production. But ByuN is setting up on both sides here, going to try to target down a few things, loses a couple Marines. Waiting with the tanks. Behind that little vision blocker, the bush is there. Yeah, Lambo just right-clicking on everything, making sure it can't get away, at least anywhere close to where his lings and banes currently are. But ByuN, he still has Marines. A bunch of lings and banes on the back, yet again. Losing the tanks to a most obvious flank. At this point, ByuN looking like he's not really living up to his rank. And I don't know who we have to thank. But to be frank, he shouldn't have lost that tank. Well, Marines getting crushed, banelings exploding with SCVs in the crossfire. I'm not a rapper, like and subscribe. But I drop at the back. Couple drones down, 11 SCVs though are the number on the other side, so ByuN microing back, trying to cut down as many links as possible, but looking a bit dire for the Korean Terran now. And especially as Lambo sitting on 73 drones against 48 SCVs. He's got a hive on the way, plus 2 carapace. ByuN does have 2-2. And he does have a lot of army supply. It's about even at the moment, 82. And with Marine, well, he's switched to Widow Mines, which are a little less reliable than tanks, but they have a much wider range of damage they could do, anywhere from obliterating all the lings and banes to potentially killing your own army. But ByuN thinks it's time for a bit of a gamble here. The Widow Mines will be scouted by the creep, a little less than ideal to reveal them so early on, but here we go. Lambo not quite set up to deal with it, trying to drag out the mines. Will do so on several of the Zerglings. A lot of the lings and banes closing in on the main bio ball. And with it, ByuN picks up. He's forced back. He is not able to take control of the situation. Oh my god. Picks up and actually absorbs a Baneling. 2 Banelings with a single Marine. Well, a desperation move, yet a potentially effective one. Finally, ByuN's finds an opportunity to pick up and head towards the main. I can't believe it took 12 minutes to get here. And it's not really the play he wanted to make. It's just one of the only plays left to him. But here comes ByuN. Oh, the Quadra drop. Plenty of Marines. Same time, Widowmine's getting caught out in the center of the map. Widowmine's also zoning. ByuN on the left flank. He's at the 6 o'clock base as well. But the Marines picked up and dropping back out. Zerglings cannot fly despite their wings. Queen's caught, gunned down by the Marines out of the medevacs. ByuN starting to make a mountain out of a bit of a molehill here. Takes down 1 base, 19 drones alongside it, as ByuN explodes all over the map. There's nothing to reliably take down these medevacs, and ByuN has finally found the opportunity to exploit it. Back into the main. 3 medevacs. Ultralisk Cavern is on the way, but a bit optimistic at this point. Another base down. The medevacs at the front. He's stimming in towards the 3rd. Parasitic Bomb, but that doesn't help take down the Marines, which are able to gun down most of the Zerglings. Enough Zerglings to force the pickup in the center of the map, but still a drop at the back. 27 drones down. ByuN has drawn almost even on the worker count. 3-3 is on the way. ByuN drops back out as the Queens try to chase down the medevac, but will not get it. Still a medevac in the main. Still Marines working on the Zerglings. And ByuN, it feels like he kicked this revolution into overdrive. As right now, Lambo is struggling to keep up with attacks from every direction. Medevacs finally finding the opportunity. And with that parasitic bomb to kill the medevac, that's not the most efficient use of energy, but he has to do something. Still another drop, down to 50 drones. Lambo's economic lead has completely evaporated, and he no longer has the economy with which to go for the Ultralisks. Maybe the option that could have cut down ByuN before he got any more momentum. But the Ultralisk now could easily be microed away, as there's just not going to be enough of them to make the difference. Widowmine's connecting, dealing with the front line here. Vipers have plenty of energy. Parasitic Bomb doesn't do much. One of the medevacs is quarantined. Rest of the army is forced back. Drop at the 6 o'clock position as well. Microing back. Still a couple Banelings. Lambo has an opportunity to go for the big counterattack here. Looks like that drop finally cleaned up as ByuN was focused entirely on the stutter step. So, what has all of this accomplished? It has gotten ByuN right back in the game. Is he in the lead? It's close. Lambo lost hatcheries, he lost economy, and he lost units, which were all the things ByuN needed to get right back into it. And the key point is the upgrades as well, as Lambo's been focusing only on the Carapace upgrades, which means his army is almost entirely reliant on Banelings to trade here. Medevacs pick up after killing a base. Widowmine still intact. Parasitic Bomb doesn't do much, gets one of the medevacs out of there. But the drop back in the main. And ByuN. Oh my god, oh no. The Titan is plating on the Ultra's Cavern. Denied. The Ultras killed before they were even born. Good for Lambo that he didn't actually invest in any of them. He rebuilds the Ultralisk Cavern, so it does appear that was his intent all along. A Widowmine is burrowed. Lambo noticed it. Only kills 1 drone there, but ByuN has definitely taken back momentum at this game. He's grabbed it. He's turned out a full U-turn on the match and is driving in the other direction as Lambo absolutely struggling to keep up with the multitasking here. At some point, there were 3 or 4 different drops going on at once. I need to remind you, ByuN is but 1 man. 1 man and 2 wrists, and those wrists very stressed right now, I'm sure. But still, oh my, Lambo averaging 640 APM, ByuN at 470. Still 1 big attack coming through. Oh, Banelings do connect. Widowmine's also finding connections, but Lambo. These trades, the tie goes to the leader, and at this case, after all this economic damage, the leader is ByuN. A small counterattack at the 3rd. In fact, slips by into the mineral line. That could do a lot of damage here. But there's no real force multiplier for Lambo besides the Vipers, and we've already seen that's not going to be enough to turn the tides here. The upgrades are good. I don't know where exactly it slipped. It felt like it all just, like sand through your fingers. ByuN just slipped through and he got those medevacs into position. It all went downhill, or, well, uphill from there. I guess it depends on which perspective you're looking from, but wow. It really feels like a switch got flipped. And suddenly Lambo knew ByuN knew exactly what to do. Classic ByuN multitask. Lambo played a smart game up to it. ByuN just abandoning his tanks. I do like how he just gave up on the tanks. It's important if it's not working, you gotta stop at some point, and ideally that point is before you lose the game. So ByuN, he stopped building tanks, switched to the mines, focused more on that M micro, and it paid off for him. As it's very easy to get caught up in defending. I think the most important part of Zerg versus Terran is the counterattacks, is keeping the Terran from focusing all there, because Terran has some of the most cost-effective units. If you had 20,000 APM, mass Marines would probably be the most efficient unit composition. We've seen AIs, not really AI, but just scripts show that in the past. 25 Stim Marines, if you individually micro them, can counter 100 Banelings with speed. Of course, not even ByuN manages to individually stutter step 25 Marines, but if you give him the opportunity, he can get pretty close. So, with the lack of counterattacks after the initial aggression, Lambo kind of let ByuN get back into the driver's seat. And as long as he has a few medevacs and a bunch of Marines to fill him up, well, he's in his comfort zone. Wow, I haven't seen quite that level of multitasking. Well, almost ever. Very impressive. I think Lambo can easily shore that up. Another command center first, by the way. I think you gotta press the issue more quickly. You can win all of the fights, but you're not gonna win the war unless you actually limit the Terran economy. And ByuN kind of limited it himself by not building SCVs and not really expanding to his third. But just make sure that third base never happens if possible. Maybe I'm entirely wrong. I'm sure Lambo knows better than me what to do better in this game, but God, ByuN is so scary. Looks inhuman, to be honest, when it gets going. Just looking for either proxy Rex or proxy Reaper there, I imagine, with that drone. Still kind of cooling down from that game. What do we see here? The prevailing strat on this map is the early roaches as a kind of larva-efficient early game option. There's a dog as well, unrelated. Just chilling. A lot of critters on these maps hanging out. Surprising for such a dangerous place, but usually they survive longer than most of the units, so. He's just gonna make Marines. Oh my god. Well, here we are. ByuN, command center first, and 2 Rex Marine. It didn't go great. Like, it went okay, but I think Lambo, the key part was not that ByuN did damage with the Marines, it was that Lambo had so much economy. I think that 4th hatch that he took so quickly really threw ByuN off. Like, he was focusing on denying the fourth hatchery, but it was the 5th hatchery, just because the 4th was so quick. At the timing, you'd usually take a macro hatch or something, but instead he just laid it down at the base. And we'll see this time. No other commitments from Lambo yet. I'm kind of, for once, I'm more looking at his production tab than ByuN's, because you know what you're going to see with ByuN. When do we get the Bane Nest? When do we get the Lair? Possibly a Roach Horn or Evo Chambers. No, those are a larger investment. More queens on the way. The queen count. 7 queens and counting. Your basic built-in damage sponges, anti-air, what have you. Baneling Nest and the Lair on the way. The even more iconic combo. This time, a bit more tech focus from ByuN. The bare bones are the same, but adding on tank, it does look very similar. Adding on a tank, 3rd barracks. Will he build more than 44 SCVs? He is. SCVs 44 are done, 45 and 46 in production. So it looks like a bit more macro focus, literally cutting off at 44, the perfect amount to saturate 2 bases. Last game, that was. But now he stopped. Oh no. And now he started again. I'm going to commentate ByuN's SCV production. It is the most interesting thing at the moment until these Marines stim and gun down a queen. 6 overlords on the way. Lambo. Mid supply block there. Another queen. A 3rd queen. Yeah, I'm just getting a lot. Well, a couple extra Marines there. Down to just 1 in one of the medevacs, so 9 total. Evolution Chamber. Baneling speed is the laser focus here for Lambo. By the time the tanks come across the map, he's got an SCV. I don't know if that's intentionally brought the SCV. I guess 1 SCV with a push is not a terrible idea. But who knows if that's... just 1 is kind of weird. Lingbane counterattack. Already setting up. Or potential flank. I like the leaving the options open. Zerglings. Setting up for that flank. Will ByuN protect his tanks better than last game? He's got that SCV. Could we see a bunker? Rarely does it get an opportunity to finish. He's going to jam him into the little tank pocket here. Truly feels like it's designed for tanks to be there. Oh, but unsieges. Will Lambo seize that opportunity? Not quite. 15 seconds on Baneling speed. The Queen's holding the line for now. The Baneling's clearly at the back. ByuN knows the flank is coming. Those tanks are going to be very hard to dislodge with good target fire, though. Already adding a lot of damage onto the Queens. Baneling speed is done. That's the trigger. Here we go. One of the tanks already unsieged. Looking for shots, but doesn't find much. ByuN picks up, and he heads straight for the main. Abandoning the tanks yet again. Was the trade worth it? Not incredible, and there's not enough time, and there wasn't enough boost to get to the main before Lambo was able to bring those Zerglings back. +1, melee, and carapace. Oh, a stim, big stim there. A lot of those Marines not healed up from the stims yet, but gonna gun down 1, 2 more Queens, getting chased down by the Banelings. Not quite enough. One of the medevacs already badly bruised, adding on some Liberators here. Liberator's a little cheaper with the newest pet. Ooh. Some of the Marines heading the other direction. Maybe a bit of an F2. A select all army. 3rd command center's on the way for ByuN. And now, once again, pressing into that northern side. Oh, one of the medevacs taken down with all hands. Nearly full of Marines. ByuN not making too much headway as Lambo's creep spread extends. His worker count's at 71. So this is getting more and more difficult for ByuN. It is very similar to the position of last game, where he really needs to get damage done. And Lambo is consolidating. What is he going to do differently? He's now upgrading Hydralisk speed. He's actually added in the Hydra. Well, he hasn't added any Hydras yet, but I assume he will. Especially once he sees any of these Liberators. The Hydras, a more reliable damage option, have any more range than melee, setting them apart from the Lings and Banes. That's what he's chosen to complement the army. And of course, he still hasn't built any. ByuN brings the whole army together here. Multiple siege. We got tanks and Liberators, but Lambo, most of his army is behind that, if you could call it, of ByuN's. The Queen's absorbing a lot of the shots out of the tanks. Things and Banes from that right side. ByuN's splits into the other flank. Lambo with a beautiful surround, baiting ByuN directly into the Banelings, and just crushes the army. Lambo has shown more than enough experience and expertise in setting up those flanks. Yet ByuN keeps walking into them. Yes, he's trading a lot. He's killing a lot of Lings and Banes. In fact, more than the cost he's losing. But simply Lambo can replace them more easily than ByuN can replace Marines and tanks, especially with the Ling Bane counterattack here. The reinforcements are not they're not enough to deal with this amount of Zerglings, and ByuN does not have upgrades on the way. He's forced to pick up. Oh, and Zerglings from the back. Lambo just grabs everything. And trying to drop out. The Liberator's incredibly annoying to dislodge. They're actually covering this entire ramp here. So just Lings and Banes willing to pay the toll, essentially, of moving past. ByuN sieging up these Liberators, but I feel like the cost... Actually, ByuN has 1,200 gas in the bank. Does he not have an armory? He didn't build an armory? He's spending all those minerals? Feels like ByuN is quickly running out of steam here. As the upgrades for Lambo going to complete. +2 Carapace is done. +2 melee attack is more than halfway there. A hive begins. There isn't really the force multipliers, the comeback potential that we saw last game. Between Lambo having a comfortable 75 drones and an upgrade advantage, as well as adding in the Hydras, ByuN doesn't really have that multi-drop opportunity that he did in the previous match. I think Lambo has literally and figuratively covered his base as well here. Still a strong army. One bad fight where the Banelings come in from the wrong angle and the tanks get a hold of them. Could still turn it around, but it's becoming... Ooh, great tank hit. Great target fire. Targeting down those Banelings. Yeah, you're not getting like this. Pretty much exactly like that. One of those fights where he kills 6 SCVs, but it costs him dozens of Zerglings. The Queen's... Brenda! Brenda, no! Wrong! No! Not again! We want to flank too! Well, some Overlords getting caught out. Lambo did notice the Queens. Still, ByuN just manages to put together these incredibly dangerous armies. He's kept enough intact. Half a dozen Liberators covering overlapping fields of fire. The Venn diagram of freedom here. More like the Olympic rings. But here comes Lambo from every which way. The Queens and Hydras dealing with the Liberators. And the Marines are stuck in a corner. The ones that don't manage to get picked up. And Lambo melts through this entire army. At the same time, the Liberators are still intact, and that means ByuN still gonna try again. Oh god, that tank volley actually hitting incredibly hard. Another group of Lings and Banes taken down. ByuN refuses. I choose to believe that's the same SCV from earlier. He's gonna repair. He's repairing the Liberator. The Queen's still going to work. Lambo setting up another surround here. As ByuN manages to remain dangerous, despite a massive upgrade disadvantage, despite less army supply, despite way less economy, ByuN. He's still backed up against a wall, but Lambo, despite finding a surround, is struggling to actually finish him off. The counterattacks are limiting ByuN's economy. There's still no hint of 2-2. The Marines are finding a great angle here to fight the Hydras, but finally Viper's on the way. That might be the difference. One of the Vipers almost gets taken out as it spawns out of those eggs. Huge counterattack. The orbital itself looks like it was taken out, and that might be enough to undercut his efforts at the front. ByuN may fight to the last man, but he's quickly running out. Lambo with a great setup. Strategically, Lambo played amazing in that game. Those were some of the best flanks I've ever seen. At the same time, ByuN knew what he was doing when he walked into it. I can't believe he didn't expect to get flanked. I think he was relying, as ByuN often does. So that's the issue with the way ByuN plays, is if he doesn't micro perfectly, or if he miscalculates slightly. Well, I love your gumption, but to quote Mengsk, you're in way over your head. It felt like that, just drowning in Zerg. Lambo does manage to land the killing blow through those counterattacks, as I mentioned. The counterattacks, the key to actually limiting ByuN. The army itself, ByuN managed to win, or at least trade very well in most of the fights, but eventually there was nothing left to fight with. Stressful. Lambo clearly prepared. I gotta say, ByuN a bit disrespectful of Lambo's preparation. I don't know, I don't think intentionally, but ByuN coming in with his, I'm just gonna build Marines. If that doesn't work, maybe we'll throw in some tanks and Liberators, but it does feel like, almost like a ladder game for ByuN. These are just default builds here. Of course, I do have to say, in this game, things have changed. The game has changed. ByuN is hiding his barracks. Now, let's think about it. One, when the Overlord comes up, it's gonna scout no barracks at the ramp. A second part of this is defending roach all-ins. This allows you to just slap a bunker down on the high ground instead of relying on, especially on this side of the map, your add-on would be exposed to roaches, ravagers, all those goodies. So I think this is a combination of defense and lack of scouting for Lambo. And now here's the thing, Lambo did go for a pool first. He's getting speed as well. So quite a spicy opener here. And ByuN, has he CV scouted? He has not. He has not scouted in any way, shape, or form. But because he went reactor first, and he didn't go command center, it looks like he's going to have the Marines out in time to deal with this. So Lambo could gamble, what a sentence, on another group of Marines or another group of Zerglings. But, he's just gonna, that's, yeah, that's intended. That Overlord's out there intentionally. Right? He's not gonna use it as a fool's magnet, as it's been called in the past. Drawing the attention like Marines to a light. Instead, hiding the Zerglings. But now there are 4 Marines. This creates an odd scenario. There's going to be Zergling speed, so these Marines should get surrounded and killed. But yeah, ByuN very confidently walking across the map with them. Gonna get chased down. He spots it. Stutter stepping already. That should be enough lings, right? Yeah. Okay. He gives away the Zergling speed, which is, usually it doesn't finish till after 3:30. So, clearly, a bit of a commitment early on. ByuN has a couple Marines just in case there's not enough lings here. And there clearly is, as he guns down a couple more. Lambo not investing in some sort of all-in. He's played a comfortable, honestly, Lambo has been the macro player here. ByuN has gone some version of all-in both games. It's just, he's managed to limit Lambo enough to keep the game going. But it's been Lambo who benefits from the game extending, for the most part, throughout the series. And that seems to be continuing now. As ByuN, a bit of a meandering path, but we're going to have 2 barracks, a reactored starport, and 2 medevacs for his Marines. ByuN never change. No, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. It was a good joke I already had in my head. I usually plan them out about 2 seconds before I say them, as you can tell. ByuN, never change. To which ByuN replies, okay, I won't. Which, not meant to be taken literally, but here we are. 16 Marines or so, and 2 medevacs. 17 Marines. As I think the slight delay there from those Zerglings with speed. It's just a bunch of, like, this is just more Marines with 2 medevac. He knows. He does. He knows. Both players know what's going on right now. ByuN's just sitting there. Oh my god. Just waiting for the medevacs. Not gonna waste a scan or anything silly like that. Picks up whatever Marines are left at home. Make sure they come along. Don't want to leave them behind at the gas station. So, here we go again. Onto the creep. Stim is done. +1 in combat shield on the way, but a long way off. Gonna gun down none queens. I do want to point out, well, at least to start, Lambo, with the least drones he's had in dealing with this early aggression, though adding a few more on. So that means ByuN's economy is the closest it's been to Lambo during this early aggression. Not of stims, medevacs, chastising the Marines while they heal them. Running out of energy very quickly, even before any real fight. ByuN the most consistently low energy on his medevacs, in general. Not a derogatory thing, just an indicator of how active he is with that stim pack. Baneling speed on the way, but combat shield and +1 should be done. Combat shield about to finish. +1 done. Probably a little beforehand on Baneling speed, which I think is a bit quicker in the previous games. Also 2 tanks here. So this is a dangerous timing, and the difference between... Yeah, Lambo already setting up a surround. Might try to jump this on creep before the tank siege. Already 1 siege, though. ByuN is ready. That combat shield really going to be important here. Target fire on the Banes. Only 3 Banes left. Making some more on the high ground here. Still 1 tank on the back line. Looking to add the damage. Trying to target Queens. Almost out of energy from Transfuse. Still plenty of Lings and Banes. Exactly the same time on the +1. ByuN picks up. He's going to leave the tank here. There's a massive thorn in Lambo's side. Makes it look interesting, but this covers the drop in the Bane. Oh, the tank's looking for something. Target firing. Micro's back. Only 1 Bane remains. Back in the main looking... Lambo's still getting stretched between these 2 bases. And ByuN is keeping up production back at home. He's just picking up in the medevac. I don't even know. Wait, okay, now he's got 2 medevacs of Marines. Somehow ByuN always has 2 medevacs of Marines. There must always be 2. A master ended up... No, that's different. This is different. Meanwhile, those 2 medevacs sowing chaos in the... Well, now in the 3rd. And that's the danger of taking this as your 3rd, is you have to run all the way around and take all the time walking with those queens, whereas as the crow or the medevac flies, it only takes a couple seconds, much to the queen's dismay. But here comes Lambo, big flank, but before +1 carapace means those tanks are extra effective here. He's gonna go anyways. Guns down. Oh my god, he just dealt with 1 side of the flank. Sliced it to pieces. Obliterated it with the tanks, and now ByuN is stimming in with a 25 supply lead. Picking up the Marines, still losing a lot of them to the Banes. But the Banes can only attack once, and 3 medevacs of Marines survive. Banelings trickling into the tanks. I don't think that was enough to break this. There's no counterattack, because ByuN's still on 2 bases, but he has plenty of Marines, even if 5 Marines barely have 1 Marine of HP between them. In autumn colors right now, the HP bars. But he can't even get close. He's too scared to move in. And he picks up. And he goes to the main. As the Banelings, the Liberators, show up to the party. He drops the entire way throughout the main. There's just not enough here. Dropping back. Target fires. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 4. But the medevacs are out of energy. And the Marines are out of HP. Brenda! No! Stimming. Okay, calm down with the stims. He actually took down. No, he's looking to intercept the queens. There's not enough Banes. Here comes ByuN. Terran through the front yet again. Banelings closing the distance, but the Marines are closing the game. ByuN takes it 2-1. I think, about the best series we could ever expect from these two. Lambo clearly prepared for ByuN's strategies, but ByuN just too strong. He knows what he wants, and he knows how to get it. And the success of ByuN can be directly measured by how successfully he drops the main and how quickly. And in this game, in this final match, getting that early drop-off and just dragging Lambo between the bases. Divide and conquer. ByuN does. So hopefully you enjoyed my commentary. And hopefully you continue to with this video that Jimmy put out there right for you. Thank you for watching. I hope I made your day a little bit better. And I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill.